What up? I keep hearing this bird outside my window, like it's a messenger or something. So I gotta deliver a message. Let's get my honest source. I think this is probably gonna go on the unfiltered Innerchild. Gratitude for all of you, everybody. I feel so revamped and re-innovated when it comes to like my image now. I've always cut my hair, if you don't know that, by the way. I was reflecting on that last night. I learned how to do it. Like, I taught myself. I think that's one of the greatest things you can do with self-sufficiency or learning something is learning how to do it yourself and master it. So it probably, I say no more than 15 minutes if I'm really focused to really cut my hair. That's front and back, stuff like that. Depending on what I want, if I'm not overthinking it, but yeah, I've been doing some deep reflection, like I said. When I hear birds sometimes, I'm like, they are messengers of the animal kingdom. They bring messages. And I kept hearing these birds. And for me, it's like a warning for some. And then I was, the day before, with my son out while he was on his bike. And I keep seeing, I felt the tension, like, of something's about to happen where we were at the park. Because, right now, the kids are just, it's not even just the kids, it's the energy. It's so much of what's happening, what's unfolding, when they really don't have no guidance or support. It's very challenging for them to try to navigate through that. No direction, shit. Some of the parents even support them in some of the shit they don't realize and throw their life away. Well, not even just throw it away, but where they don't even have a second chance to life. So, when I put my glasses on and stuff, I almost felt like, it's funny because, Johnny Cage, when he flipped his glasses out. I didn't watch the movie, by the way. But it's funny how that comes out right now, Mortal Kombat. I always be reading between the lines on shit, like Mortal Kombat. I'm like, okay, mortal. We know who mortals to be, human beings or whatever, if you want to look at it like that. But I was like, that's what the energy feels like. I was even last night, my daughter, it's so much coming up as I'm talking about this because I believe this inner child thing is bringing up so many memories and stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I saw the artist or somebody, the creator of Cartoon Network, transitioning, like passing. And that's wild because last night, before I'm big on like not watching shit that is combative or this versus this, and because it's just what I have navigated through and realized how much in healing you realize you have to also be very conscious of what you are sharing to your kids, man. Because even though people can see it's innocent, look at the shit that came out with that knee, this knee. If you know, you know. And a lot of that shit don't surprise me because I've told y'all before, a lot of these things are preying on the childhood woundings. Like, and it's a way of like feeding us stuff, in our subconscious to trigger us. Think about kids watching stuff so long eventually you start to become it. You start to soak this in. I told my daughter that when she was watching Powerpuff Girls. And I was like, I asked her, Mom, I'm like, hold on, what's this? Because we're very aware. Because they throw shit in places so much to where, like, you really, two dads, two moms. And again, I've lived in California. I've lived in a lot of places where that is a thing, it's prominent. To each their own how people want to live. But when it's forced to the kids, when it's given to them without no sense of balance or even direction, force feeding them things to where, again, it's a form of magic, y'all. This is a form of influence. It doesn't matter how much you want to accept it or not. Deep reflection, inner child thing again. I have teeth in my mouth that are missing, and I'm not blaming anyone, but it's also the accountability around the irresponsibility that you grew up with, that your mother and them never stressing the importance of how important your teeth is, how important your teeth are like bones. They consider them bones because the way they grow, or not even just to grow, but the significance of even when you leave and you that determine the DNA of someone. Typically the teeth are still there, and more so the bones. So that's one of the most ancient things in your body that holds DNA. So yeah, that was a lot of stuff coming up. So now I'm very prominent on my daughter's teeth being brushed, but more healthily, because the fluoride shit, those of you that know, y'all don't realize there's been an attack so much young chemicals. This is gonna be a theme that's gonna come up soon enough when Chiron enters Taurus. It's gonna bring up a lot of things around our inner child too, like foods, what we've been fed, the land. It's gonna bring up a lot of things centering around what we value, how we value it, our health, so many different things. I see Taurus as well-being as all around. I don't see just Virgo as that. Virgo's earth sign, but any earth sign I see any earth sign I see as around of symbolic to your physical well-being as well. Being that, every sign has a sister sign, so it's like basically the energy that, what is opposite of Taurus? Yeah, Scorpio. So me having Scorpio placements remind me of not just my spiritual well-being, but my mental well-being. So a lot of that plays a part in how certain energies show up, in our charts and so forth. I didn't know I was going that place with it, but just vibe with me here. I'm just taking an early rising walk. But back to the inner child thing. That and my daughter, I was saying, like, no, we're gonna have to change this, baby, because people don't realize, yeah, we grew up in that stuff, but now I realize the effects that it has, because if you grew up in a combative home, violent home and so forth, you're watching this, how is that any different? I know, that's that's a cartoon. It's more than just a cartoon. It's more than just that. It's more than that. Because everyone don't have the same values. And I get it. We don't have to agree on everything. But you're not the bridge for my kids or the kids that was given to me. And as much as I'm a bridge for them, they're a bridge for me. And what that means is, like, she's a bridge to remind me of not only what I grew up in, but also the awareness around being a bridge for her into something where her life can be more, setting her up for prosperity, harmony, and peace. So when I think about the fact of even the park situation yesterday with my son, I could just feel the energy, because I saw some kids were about to, you see shit play it out. Those of you know, when you grow up in certain areas, you see stuff play out to where I'm not really prominent on going to that part or being in that area, but You have to see things in a way it was about to play out to where they were about to, you could just tell people assertiveness, like they're about to run out there, go after him. But luckily, he placed himself somewhere where he was protected. So with that now, luckily nothing happened because I'm glad I was there. I was just more so aware of, like, if it would have went further than what it would, I would have most likely had to step in, because it's more than even just a TV thing. It's more so, or what people watch. We don't have a TV. We don't watch. It's just on a laptop. But it's more than just that, because it's also with your kids, the environment, and what they see. I was coming across a video the other day, and it was like, what we reward what type of behavior you reward repeats. And I was like, that's so true. And the reward aspect is the fact of it ain't just someone who's acting out a certain way. No, if there's no type of balance or discipline, it's going to repeat. And that can be looked at so many different ways, to where rewarding is also in the fact of, like, how you see someone, and it all determines their age. Well, of course, you got to address things differently when they're smaller and so forth. But that's a whole other thing where my behavior was rewarded in an unconscious way to keep me more attached to the idea of me staying under my mother's wing, but it really wasn't for protection. It was smothering. So it was more so her reward when I was at a disadvantage of not being more aware of, like, what it is to be liberated in my childhood. So it was rewarding for someone who's wounded. So how that can play out on the flip side when someone's an adult who's more aware, but it's also dealing with people who are undeveloped emotionally, to where just because they want to, let's say, assert their way aggressively or in an argument or something, you don't even have to respond. Because in a way, it's almost like enabling them to repeat the same behavior if you respond the same, if you react, let's just say, if you react similarly to what they're used to. It's almost like rewarding the behavior pattern that they're used to being called out on. If that makes sense. Like, it's, some people, it's oddly enough, some people actually get a kick out of that stuff when they feel that what they've said and what they've done, or what they're doing, continue to do, is rewarding to them. And that's so much in a wounded way, to where they're not even recognizing how much it brings them self-harm and it affects other people. And it's just a way of checking yourself, like, you know what? It's not my job to fix this person and so forth. So you're not going to interact and reward the behavior of, again, engaging. So, what else I want to say? So what else? Yeah, the part, did I finish up on the park thing? The park thing. Yeah. So I've learned also that in some cases where you're not able to control the narrative, you're still placed there to observe and see the bigger picture on why you're positioned there, why you need to see what you need to see. Observe it without reacting. Now, I did have to have a talk with my daughter, because this was after we returned from the park. And I was like, is it harmless as it may seem for some people to think, oh, it's just Powerpuff Girls and it's a cartoon? Again, it's more than that. I go back to my inner child and realize how much I saw stuff like that it does become triggering to me, because I do have a say-so. I do have a say-so. I cannot tell people how to raise and grow their kids, but for me, I'm like, yeah, we're not doing that over here. Because, you know, toddlers, kids, they have a way of absorbing stuff so young to where they'll assume that what they're watching, what they see is okay to eventually do, to reenact. You ever heard a kid say, oh, I saw this on this and I saw this on that. But in reality, it's like, what? What do you mean? I mean, think about kids who be on roadblocks all day, be on all this other stuff, and now that you're finding out that some of your most childhood things with that knee, Disney, this knee right here, Disney, is people being busted for stuff when it comes to child porn and, you know, research the story. A lot of this stuff don't surprise me because allegedly people were saying this years ago. But like I said, when people are preying on childhood wounds, that's a part of it, y'all. It comes from different angles. It comes from the angles of knowing the environments kids grow up in. So the music is one. Okay, stop and smell the roses today. God, that smells so good. I gotta smell these too. Damn. Oh my gosh. Whoa. That pink one was amazing. So, what did I say? Stop and smell the flowers. Yeah. But, so you can get influenced so many different ways. That's a part of it. The music is one. And if you think the powers that used to be wasn't aware of this, come on, bro. A lot of businesses, corporation would be as big as it is if it's all about the attack on the essence, the inner child. Y'all keep looking at the adult aspect. It's the inner child. It's the little boy and girl within you. Trust me, I used to have parties. I used to do a lot of stuff. I used to see, you turn a certain song on, boy, nigga go crazy. And don't let them have something repressed or suppressed, because basically, they're going to act that out, reenact. What? 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 You need to be groomed. I mean, yeah, groomed or something. Got hair all on you, little dog. But anywho, it's the music. And I'm not bashing anyone when it comes to that, because there is a balance. It's just the fact of like, just try riding Aries, even if you're not follower or in tune or aware of astrology. It definitely highlights the way how we assert ourselves, how we assert our anger and aggression. And again, I recognize the pattern, because I've seen my daughter display anger. You know, kids grow up or they have this way where you have to learn how to support them through that anger, through that rage, you know, redirect them. And, you know, I know when we get angry, we don't hit ourselves out of frustration, or we don't hit others. And this is the bullshit to where, well, I tell y'all, people have literally built an identity around their kids being so perfect, being so kind. And these are the most kids who have shit bottled up. These are the ones who have stuff bottled up the most. You're teaching them to be overly kind. You're teaching them to be, basically, you're teaching them to repress what they feel and how you make them feel, or, you know, in a moment where they're not telling you, And so now, eventually, these are the ones that's going to eventually black out one day. Or, blank out. Or just lose it. And this is your America. This is your country. They reward, like I told y'all before, when it comes to the Innerchild aspect, they reward violence. There's a reward in being ignorant. There's a reward in being undeveloped. There's a reward in drama. There's a reward in being undeveloped in so many ways. And that's what they prey on. You think they don't get a kick out of knowing that certain kids don't have this awareness of this and this and that, but yet they'll make sure those very kids are playing their sports though, part of their a part of their leagues and a part of whatever it is that they're building, of course. As I say that, I said police ride by. It's the same with them too. You think that some of the ones that didn't make it, that didn't do certain things, that they don't make them a part of keeping the loop going, keeping the loop of dysfunction going in society, meaning not functioning, to keep the loop of dysfunctioning. I'm not doing that. Fuck that shit. Because I know there's people out there with a heart who want to be balanced, who actually want to be more secure. And your world, when we look at world or your, it got hours in it. So when you talk about these people who have knowingly are a part of something that's collapsing, you can see the desperation in them trying to cling onto the idea of making sure shit is fucked up. Like I said, even if it bothered my daughter at the moment, I said, no, we gotta find something else. We gotta find something else that's, and in reality, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna eventually have to happen. Everything, there's a beauty and nostalgia of what we experience. I'm not discarding the fact of everything that we've learned and we experience when it comes to our childhood. It's a part of life. What I realize a lot of us are going to do is reinvent and recreate a narrative, innovation, and a lot of things around how we view the world, cartoons, anything you name it, leadership, all these things. Because when you think about a lot of these people, like the guy that just transitioned, these are people who grew up in their consciousness, their mindset was centered around versus, division, fight. This was their childhood. It's nothing against them. It's the fact that this is how things shift and change. Belief systems change. Things change. People have a change of heart. Shit shifts. But a lot of people don't really stand on business like they say they do. That's why I be telling folks, I'm like, people don't value peace or harmony and balance like they say they do. Like I said, it's not about discarding everything, because some things you have to adjust and realize, like, you know what? I realize and see why people in their karmic nature or whatever it is act the way they do. I really do. In their mind's eye, they don't even think that they can go beyond where they are in their environments. They don't even think peace is obtainable. Some people actually don't even believe that a harmonious and balanced life is possible. So they become complacent. So it just makes sense why the behavior that they cycle through is prominent. But I tell you one thing, this Chiron and Taurus finna make a lot of fucking people uncomfortable. The things I've been talking about, or what I was given, I realized like I'm early to the function. I'm early in the way where I can just relax. I don't have to force shit. I'm just chilling, watching everything play out. I'm early to the function, bro. The whole time y'all thinking y'all late. I'm telling you, even if you in the worst, it seems like the worst conditions or whatever, everything that has been given to y'all in the last 100 years or whatever, so y'all about to find out how early you have been. The ones that are late are the ones who've been in Lulu land, the Lulu, or just assuming that they are actually ahead of people simply because they live in a better neighborhood. They have resources. They have this and they have that. They are the ones that's about to be late to the program. And what I mean by that, it's like they're so far behind because they've become so comfortable and complacent. And they wanted to hold on to the old narrative. That's what I mean by how they so behind. Now, when you actually have moments where you sit still and relax, and you put it in a position and you don't take advantage of it, but you take advantage of it in the sense of like allowing yourself to sit still and really, it's a divine intervention when the divine say, hey, I want you to go through this and just look. Because I told y'all, certain neighborhoods like I go through, it's the silence. And you gotta think about this. For one, a lot of these people, Innerchild, never truly got to express themselves. Never. Even when I think about the fact of like, when it comes to, when I tell y'all about the Innerchild being preyed on and how the religious aspect of that has also plagued a lot of people too. A lot of that has been created in a space of abandonment wounds to where, yeah, it's okay to come together, but those who know that the church is the body. It's the body. The temple is the body. It's the collective body. It's every individual. You are a representation of the oneness, the interconnectedness. Because when you see how certain buildings in certain places have literally been orchestrated, and it'll say all are welcome or all are, but there's still underlying judgment, insecurities. There's still so much to do with the fact of knowing how people are still seeking externally for, and I say this as I'm in front of one, people are still seeking asylum. Is that the word I want to look for? Or assurance, some type of acceptance, even when they go into these spaces. They don't know that. They're still looking for acceptance for, it'd be different if the person was right there. The figure. The character was right there and you actually came together. Now think about this. If that character was here, there wouldn't be no more churches. There wouldn't be these buildings. There wouldn't be no buildings. And I'm just giving y'all this analogy, like if the character was here, what sense would it make? Because that these people will be trying to engage or be involved and want to learn the teachings of how this person became who they were and how did you navigate through that and so forth. So this is where you see the difference between the figure, which y'all call Christ, and then the difference in Christ consciousness. because everyone who is aware of what the Christ consciousness is and a representation of that is also aware of the rebellion that comes with acknowledging these things, of the evolution of what the Christ consciousness represent. Some people perceive it as almost the Antichrist because it's anti to what religiously has been forced and fed onto people to look outside of themselves for, that perspective of what that bug perspective of what they perceive God to be, or this external person or anything. And they still don't realize they still will never obtain it, because if you never interacted or even seen or laid out, what is so much of the what is so much of the like, who's reassuring that this is real, and who determines what's real and what's not, is my thing. And that's why, like, the balance that's being restored has a lot to do with, like, a child's imagination. That's a spiritual thing. That's something higher that cannot be explained before they're introduced. Do you know how many millions, and if not billions, of children that was never introduced to religion? And had they not been introduced, how much imagination that has would have flourished, but now that will flourish, because for me, it's to give my kids a figure or a person that they've never seen, that they never will see. Because some people believe that they'll see when they leave here. But to give them this idea of, it's like almost a lie. It's the same way people give the Santa Claus thing. To give them this false illusion or this idea of, this person did this for you. But now I want y'all to break this down. This person did this for you to live a certain way, okay? Now, she never laid eyes on this person. You never laid eyes on this person. Not to mention, outside of the skin color, you're asking me to accept and believe in something and to approve of something because you tell me that I should, right? So I tell myself this: if I grew up and I saw certain people treat me a certain way, whether it be a mother, father, or whatever figure or some form, and then I'm told to, through whatever text and book and so forth, to just accept this and turn the other cheek, or, all these different things, where you start to learn more. There's a deeper, more spiritual awareness around even the biblical text. It's more sacred. It's those who know what I'm going. I ain't gonna go too deep in that, but there's a difference where you see yourself as a representation of realizing that if we're supposed to be what y'all call, some people say, Christ-like, then, and walk in the image and so forth, it's so many things that it's so confusion, or you asking someone not to question but just to accept. Because I don't want to go deep into that, because a lot of things are shifting to where, again, I'm not going to even tell my daughter she needs my approval, because I know, just as I am, she's guided by something higher. Some people make, oh, that's devilish. You don't want to follow. Listen, if my experience from what I grew up in and watched people who are part in these buildings and grew up in these environments, Your experience, your lived experience is completely different. So my perception is valid. Your perception is valid. Like I said, if this character or these people or whom y'all say is going to return, and all of these churches and all of these, with so many denominations, and y'all still haven't found balance and stability in your life, you still haven't found a sense of peace because you keep thinking that it's outside of you. You still haven't even found happiness, because if you did, you will notice that it don't depend on nobody else. So why do I need to convince my daughter or anybody else that your happiness comes through somebody else? Is that not what you have been doing, with people, to convince them to accept and believe something? Yeah, it's very interesting. Like I said, that along with music and a lot of different things, it's played a part in, it's played a major role in influencing people to not be themselves, to not fully express themselves. That's the danger in how much a world has been so consumed on the fact of how so many things have come out about, y'all know, like again, that knee, this knee, the Catholic Church, the men, the priests, all these different things, because we have to see the wickedness in how we've been fooled to believe that how easy we should trust a smile, how easy we shouldn't, we should just be accepting of the bare minimum, how easy we shouldn't question things, or we should just accept and not question things. Because again, the inner child perspective that I share with y'all is to show that you, in this world, you have to know that there are people who disguise their evil intentions, benevolent behavior, the shit that they talk about in the books, tell you about the spiritual warfare. It tells you about, for we don't fight with flesh and blood, or this battle isn't flesh and blood, but it's principalities and wickedness in high and low places. So that, for one, I'm telling you right there. That, for one, is telling you something right there. All these different names, it ain't nothing but, again, another mask. All these different denominations, people that I know from my experience, prey on the mothers, the children, that mislead the message, and more going to be exposed. Like I said, more and more is going to be exposed on how we've been, since our childhood have been preyed upon. Even our mothers and fathers, they've entrusted themselves with these people. And those same very people who they hold in high honor are the same people who prey on their childhood woundings, attack them, whether spiritually or keep them spiritually immature, emotionally unavailable, keeping them in the space of like, come to me and I'll solve all your issues, and pour into me, pour into the church. Man, there's so many stories, so many different things. Y'all got to realize it's a shift. All of these things is a part of y'all, keeping y'all in limbo, keeping y'all imbalanced. We're creating our own tradition now, through sovereignty, through authenticity. We already doing it. We're already doing it. You think I'm finna go into an environment or church or something where you don't even uphold or even encourage people or really support people that are of darker shades and so forth? Come on, man. People internalize this shit. They internalize the fact of knowing how, like I said, There's so many different things that they've escaped through to build their infrastructure, to build what it is they built. And you cannot overlook the fact of, again, the last 100 years, or last 200 some odd years, how and what people have built the energy on. It cannot no longer be ignored. You can't hide behind your buildings, and you can't hide no more. Them spirits is coming to collect. If you know, you know. It don't matter what people think they got away with. You don't get away with nothing in the spirit. This is justice playing out for those who have been preyed on. The collective energy. Those who've been preyed on when it comes to the pains of our ancestors, and those who just assume they got away with it. And it's so evident because it's written on people's faces. Like when I see even the fact of a lot of the elders and so forth, they know what they built. You know what you kept up through your perversion, through your greed. You know what you kept up. Not to mention the people who have supported you, no matter their skin color. You know what you kept up. People know their time up. They're gonna go out with it. Some people gonna go out with a bang. They only have kept y'all in shit where fear has kept people in the loop. Like I said, with my kids, they won't know fear. I fear nothing. They won't know fear so people can come and prey on them. That's why this overly kind shit, no, you need to know that you see your side of your dad, your mom, and other people. This is how some of y'all lineages and so forth have been stagnated and stuck. Because some of the people in your life and generations have built shit on abusing their power. And this is how they're gonna lose it. They're gonna lose it off abusing their power. They're gonna lose their families. They're gonna lose. That's how the spirit comes collect. Spirits come to collect in the ways what they deem is valuable to you. Like I tell people, it ain't always the fact of financial. That'll hit people, but then it'll come and collect in certain ways. Imagine abusing your power and preying on people through slaughtering, through preying on their inner child and so forth. And you think that is an accumulation, or the energy ain't collecting? The karmic debts that people have to pay? That they refuse to acknowledge and heal through and be honest? Because you know what comes with being honest is integrity. Then guess what? Their whole infrastructures and foundations internally will have to collapse to where they will have to rebuild a whole new world. Their world and those that are connected to it. Think about that. So that's why I don't feel shame and guilt around knowing how balanced and structured I am with acknowledging what has the karmic debts that I've cleared, and then the rewards that I'm receiving. The reward I know is a more structured and harmonious and balanced life, no matter if people can see it, accept it or not. Because I've seen what has ran or wants to continue to run a country and environments and so forth. You look at it, you can see all the fucking signs, you can see the people. They're lost right now. They're lost. They don't want to accept that their leadership, the people that they put so much emotion and invested, their spiritual currency, emotionally, mentally, and so forth, that they invested in. A lot of people are so egotistical or wounded that they don't want to accept that you Your system has failed you. The people, the leadership have failed you tremendously. All because y'all didn't want to accept that there is another side to everything. There's an upside to everything. You didn't want to listen to the children because you don't know how to listen to your inner child. What did Whitney say? I believe the children are our future. Teach them well, let them lead the way. If you ask me, some people are so consumed by their own bullshit and the lies they tell themselves. I respect and honor the authenticity, the bluntness of a child. Because if they haven't been corrupted or preyed upon, you're going to get the most, like I said in my channel, unfiltered inner child from that child. You're going to get the unfiltered aspect of them. And most of y'all don't even know how to be that. You don't know how to be that. For one, you never were shown. So a lot of what people don't realize, a lot of what you see playing out collectively for you in your world is a part of what you support. It's a part of you daily engaging in the shit. It's a part of what you support. What you think is okay. Why you surprised that your environment, your schools, your corporation, everything is happening the way it is? Why you're a part of that. You support it. You don't care about your kids to the depths of where, when you lost sight of your inner child, you can't possibly know the importance of the depths that I would when it comes to healing. Because you ain't doing no inner work. So a lot of y'all suffering is going to come exactly from that. While you be mad, you were warned, you were told, your grandmothers, grandfathers, people. You think they wouldn't get insight? People really think that the divine ain't try to intervene some way, somehow. No. You're just going to watch people fall on their sword. And watch those who really are concerned for the children. All. Not just some, not just yours, but all. For the highest good of all, to the harm of none. Y'all could care less if some people's kids are harmed or not. And you're going to experience some things. That's the part of balance. Because you just assumed that you could never be in your position, or somebody else, you couldn't experience that. Y'all about to see the wrath of the Most High for sure. Peace.